So as a marketing leader, there's a good chance you were promoted because you were the best marketer on your team, right? You wrote better copy, you built better campaigns, you could take a project from zero to done faster than anyone. But that's exactly how most great marketers get stuck when they become leaders, because the skills that got you promoted are not the same skills that help you scale. When you operate on the senior most executor person, you don't actually lead, you just get burnt out. And this is what is called in the industry as the executor's trap, where your biggest strengths become your biggest bottleneck. And so you may see your calendar is full of project reviews. People keep asking you, can you take a look at this real quick? And you somehow know more about the campaign performance than the people running the actual campaigns. And this isn't a workload problem. It's Think of it like an operating system problem. You have to shift from being the executor to being the architect. The solution is not for you to work harder. It's not for you to sleep less. It's not for you to magically manage your time better. The solution is to install this completely new operating system within your team. Your current operating system is the doer. You execute, you approve, you do. Your new operating system should be you enable, you guide, you build systems. So the moment you shift from doing the work to building the machine that does the work, your entire impact multiplies. So the first thing you have to think of is you have to redefine your role. Your real job is to make 10 decisions that enable 100. The moment you're reviewing every single asset or approving every single campaign, you've become the bottleneck. Because your job is strategic decisions. Who are we targeting? What position do we own? Where do we invest budget? What does success actually look like? And your team's job is to execute on the decisions. What content goes out this week? Which creative should we test? How do we communicate this message across channels? So the more decisions you delegate, the more speed you create. And the way you do that is not by giving up control, it's by creating frameworks that your team can follow. So instead of saying, let me see that email before it goes out, you create the messaging framework that defines what good looks like. So instead of joining every planning meeting, you set the quarterly objectives and then the hypothesis behind them. Because frameworks is what's going to help you scale. Approving everything is just going to burn you out. Now, the second thing is you have to develop your people. And not just in terms of skills, you have to help them build judgment. Because skills are execution, but judgment is what drives outcomes, right? So, judgment is they have the ability to say, that's flashy, but it's not going to convert. Like, that's 80% good enough. Let's just ship it. Let's just ship it. This problem looks the same as the pattern we saw 6 months ago. And you cannot teach judgment with a handbook. You just build it through decision making reps with clear feedback loops, right? So your job is to move everybody up the judgment ladder. So level 1 is where they execute with clear instructions. Level 2, they execute with context. Level 3, they identify the problem and then propose the solution themselves. And then level 4 is they see patterns before you do. So if you want to have a team that scales, you need more people at levels 3 and 4. And the fastest way to build that is to stop giving answers. Don't give answers to your team when they come to you with a problem. Instead, ask them questions. What outcome are we trying to drive with this? What would you do if I wasn't here? What's the real constraint? So teach them how to think, not what to do. And then, of course, is the third pillar, which is creating accountability without micromanagement. Real accountability is when your team owns the outcome, not just the activity. So, run 8 webinars is an activity, but generate 200 qualified leads with a 25% meeting set rate is an outcome. So, you can see the difference. When you set an outcome, people figure out the how. When you set activities, you accidentally just turn into a micromanager. Then there's the investor mindset. Allocating resources based on ROI, not habit, right? So your core needs to have 60 to 70%. Your growth needs to have 20 to 30%. And your experimental needs to have 10 to 15% budget allocated for it. Your job is to move the budget where the returns are, not where they were last year. So Just ask the questions, where are we overspending relative to results? Let them answer. What's performing better than we're funding? Let them answer again. What would you cut if this were your money? What would you fund with an extra $50,000? So, leaders who ask these questions build smarter teams. So, if your team can't function without you, you haven't built a team, you've built a dependency. Your job is to create systems that ensure quality and speed without you being in every decision. That means you can have documented playbooks, a framework for speed, clear rules for reversible versus irreversible decisions. What reversible decisions are low cost, they're low consequence. Your team should make those instantly. You shouldn't even be thinking about these at any given time of the day. Irreversible decisions are the ones that have the high cost, the high impact, and that is your job. That's where you come in. But most leaders treat reversible decisions like irreversible ones, and that's why everything slows down. But when you institute this new operating system for your team, everything changes because your team launches campaigns without you seeing them first. They come to you with decisions already made and the reasoning behind them. They own their numbers, they know what to adjust before you ask, and new hires ship quality work in a week or two because your playbooks guide them. And your calendar finally has space for strategic thinking instead of emergency reviews. So, what I want you to do is, I want you to take a 15-minute calendar audit. Look at last week and ask, was I the only person who could have done this? If the answer is no, more than half of the time, you're still doing, you're not leading. Your goal isn't to work less. Your goal is to focus on the things that multiply your impact rather than add to it. Think multiplication, not addition.